Sometimes
So, as you could tell, I just got through running across the cornfields with my dogs to come over here on a Saturday and say hi to everybody. So I'll get better at this. We'll get higher quality in the editing room because I do all my own production too. Anyway, again, love you guys. Go say hi to somebody. Just wave at somebody. Start there. Just wave at some people. Younger people, older people. I did that backwards, didn't I? Younger people, older people. Just go out and say hi. Let's start. There was a hashtag that Barbie wants to get started. I'll have to look that up. I'll have to look through some of the old films. We need to be pulling together and discussing these items, and not be afraid to have a dinner. What do they call it? Table dinner, or around the dinner table. Politics is a device to keep this country moving forward. I know that all the people in the middle class want this country to keep moving forward. I also know that the politicians we have currently in place on both sides of the aisle, some way more than others, but we have a situation now where the politicians don't want us to necessarily move forward. They want, in our education and our information to be lower and lower so that they can control more. They have very perfect lives, really. And these are the things we don't understand. You know, we need to really be able to have the courage and have the patience to be looking at our politicians more directly, with more information. As I've said before, we have a utopia coming, and if we don't have control over our politicians, as that utopia comes, then we won't have that utopia. We will be moved into whatever needs that the country has, without the rewards. This middle class of America has been stronger and done more than my own. I know I'm biased, but than any other. As a matter of fact, all the middle classes, around the world, is what the economy is built on, and we have no say at how that money is spent. Hey everybody, how you doing? Sorry, it was just our guest Simon, who you all know pretty well, was just texting me something, and I was reading it. I'm going to do something before I start the opening monologue this morning, and the reason I want to do this, and what initiated Simon's text there, was this, and what the only reason I want to show this to you. Today is my first ever. I'm a published author, so to speak, now, a columnist for the Mangum Star. Been excited about this for a little while. It's been in the works quite a bit, for a bit, I should say. And so now, as of today, first day, today is December 5th, I have my first weekly column. And again, it's because we run, some of these programs, like with L-EAF Lab and in cooperation with Regeneration School Project, Voices at the Table. Those things are really able to give us that national exposure, but it's one community at a time, and it's one conversation at a time. So when we always talk about from the inside out, this column is from the inside out, from inside small town, rural America, small county. This is a county newspaper. It's the oldest newspaper in Western Oklahoma, one of the oldest in the country, period, from the early 1800s. It's the longest running, consecutively running newspaper in one of the top numbers. And so I'm honored and pleased and excited. They did a front page announcement. I wanted to see if I can go down here. A front page announcement here, kind of giving some of the history, which is kind of cool. But then I just want to give you a quick look here. But then they put out my column, which is right here. So every week, by the way, it's mangumstar.com if you want to sign up and see these digitally. I'm not going to read through it, but it's as Simon and I were talking about. It kind of takes after the Lake Wabagon days, which is a very famous, as I understand it, his kind of a daily message written from a small town point of view. So with all of that, I just kind of want to welcome you all to Insights and Straight Talk with Rodd Duff and producer Barbie. Tonight is not just another live stream. Now, I say that periodically, and I mean that when I say that, because we do shows 6 days a week, as you all know. Yesterday's show was 2 hours and 45 minutes. We had 678 people on, I think, at the peak, and it was kind of settled in right around 670 for 2 hours and 45 minutes. It was a very, very exciting show. We've done a lot this week, a lot of which I'll get into with you in a minute. But this is a national call. This episode represents a national call to rebuild how America raises, educates, and supports its youth and families. We bring together two movements that were always meant to converge. Simon Holzapfel's L-EAF Lab and the Regeneration School Project, taking shape right here in Southwest Oklahoma. I'm very, very excited about this. Every conversation this week has revealed the same truth. Families are overwhelmed. Teens are carrying burdens that they never were designed to carry. Schools are stretched thin. Communities are struggling at the foundation. And the old systems simply, they're just not enough. Simon Holzapfel is a national leader in Agile learning, school transformation, and evidence-based educational design. He is a former award-winning head of school, an NCAA coach, an author, a strategist, and a co-founder of the now famous L-EAF Lab organization, where students learn real-world thinking, emotional health, agency, and critical problem solving. His work transforms schools, boards, governance, culture, and academic performance. And what he builds aligns directly with the Regeneration School Project. The Regeneration School Project grew from our Voices at the Table work, the one with that we do with Emma Lynn. It focuses on teen mental health, family healing, literacy, life preparation, counselor guided support, and local partnerships. This is a very exciting program and one that Simon's been very instrumental with me in bringing along. One of our models transforms how kids learn. The other transforms the environment kids return home to. Together, they form a complete system families have been missing. And this week showed exactly why these two models must come together now. On Monday, Rocky Haig exposed leadership failures from local councils to Washington, local government to Washington, and revealed how politics, healthcare, AI, and culture collide in ways that leave families unprotected and teens unprepared. On Tuesday, Matthew Meredith explained how one lawsuit, one signature, one tax strategy, or one missing plan could collapse a family's financial future. His message was simple. Families are vulnerable and they need education and guidance long before crisis hits. On Wednesday, Wesley Farnsworth reminded us how so many teens and adults are emotionally exhausted. spiritually disoriented, and suffering silently, and need a place to process fear, faith, doubt, identity, and of course, hope. On Thursday, yesterday, Leanna de Bellevue showed us how even successful adults operate with blind spots in business, leadership, relationships, and personal development. Her work made it clear people thrive when they are coached, mentored, supported, and guided towards clarity. Every conversation this week pointed to the same conclusion. We can't fix America's middle class unless we rebuild the systems that shape children and support families. The cooperation between L-EAF Lab and the Regeneration School Project is not optional. It is necessary, even urgent, and certainly inevitable. Together, these two models create a blueprint where students learn emotional intelligence, financial literacy, communication, and problem solving, where parents get guidance instead of judgment, where teachers receive support instead of exhaustion. Where communities collapse instead of collaborate instead of collapse, where teens speak honestly about stress, identity, anxiety, mental health, and fear, and where schools evolve from test-driven factories into agile, human-centered ecosystems built for the world kids actually live in. We already see momentum across L-EAF Lab pilot programs and online schools with thousands and thousands of participants and voices at the table, where more than 2,500 to 10,000 live attendees and over 16,000 monthly views have joined in this specific topic, the one we're having today. As a matter of fact, there's 200 people on right now just listening as they come in, getting their coffee ready and their tea warmed up, their kombucha, all set to snuggle in and dial into what we're doing here today. Families want answers. Teens want a voice. Communities want direction. So tonight we ask the real question. These questions here. What happens when agile learning meets real world life skills? What does a school become when teens have agency? What does a community become when families have support? What emerges when mental health, communication, and family dynamics all align? And what could America look like if we rebuilt education from the inside out? This episode is your invitation to help shape that blueprint. And there is no better person to begin this conversation with than the man leading the charge in educational transformation. Simon Holzapfel, welcome to the show. Oh, I missed it. I missed my click. How you doing,
Thank
Simon?
you so much. Thanks, Rodd. It's great to be back.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to have you here. We obviously we communicate throughout off-air time and all those. Oh wow, we've already got questions coming in. Oh my God, what the heck? Wow. Okay, so some people are coming back because you're back. We've already got. I bet you we've got 10 questions already. Almost 300 people on. So that's
Cool.
not a bad ratio, actually. So we've been talking a lot about some different things. And before we get started, why don't you give it a little bit of background? You don't need a lot. I mean, obviously, you've been on a number of times. We have a
I'm happy to give a recap.
growing. Yeah, give just a little recap, but also kind of give an update on anything. Like I just found out, we were just talking about Jeff a minute ago, and I during one of my last conversations, right before I moved from Naperville, from Chicago, Illinois.
So this is what we got to talk about, dude.
Yeah, you got a pilot program going there already. So give it a little background.
Sure.
Kind of what I did, but better,
Sure.
more professional, more interesting. And then give us some update, and then let's go into some of these questions and let's get it rocked off here, buddy.
Sure. Okay.
Hey,
So
are you okay on time? Are you okay on time, by the way?
yeah, I'm good till the top of the hour, I believe. Let me double check.
So that gives us 35 minutes.
Yeah, something like that.
All right. Fair enough.
Yes, 35 minutes.
All right. So you're basically going to be with us for an hour. So we've been going almost,
Cool.
my God, time flies. It's already 16 minutes we've been going here, dude.
Yeah.
So jump in, Simon, please.
Yeah. So for audience members who are new or not familiar, my name is Simon Holzapfel. I live in a rural town. I grew up in a rural town. There's snow on the ground. It's a time of thanks. It's a time of reflection. So Rodd, it's great to be back on the show to talk about these regenerative things that we do. When we were chatting in the green room before, I was talking about, as a kid, what were voices of hope? And my parents' particular choice of radio included this guy from Minnesota. And this guy from Minnesota was named Garrison Keillor. And he basically told these stories about his hometown. And they were, as a kid, 10-year-old, 12-year-old kid.
Simon, can we come back? Something in you're skipping every third word.
Got it.
Or two out of every three words. So my
internet has been stinky all day.
Okay. Right now it's going pretty good. Can you just kind of step back a second and pull up some of that you were just saying? Because it was important.
Yeah. It's not. So let me just back it up and say Simon Holzapfel, because we can edit this, right?
Yeah. No, but
not for the live audience. Too bad, folks. So I spent 10 years teaching social studies after college.
Perfect.
U.S. history, economics, U.S. Politics and government. That was my thing. Then I got into administration, and I spent a dozen years as an academic director of a boarding school here in the Hudson Valley, and then got into leadership. So I was the head of school of that place. I also got into leadership. The lab, to answer your question much more directly for your audience, the lab is what came out of this kind of life's work. Once I met this handful of other people who were like, oh yeah, there are actually tools regular everyday Americans can get to rebuild the kind of Lake Wobegon vibes that, as a kid back in the 80s, this voice came through the radio and was like, oh, what a cool place. And so you and I were joking, and I was like, oh, you're Rodd, you are the digital age's, Lake Wobegon 3 point something, because we live in a digital age now, and we've got a lot of the same issues. We in rural America, we've got these same issues. So the lab is open to rural America. It's open to suburban America. It's open to urban America. The lab doesn't take those things as constraints to what young people need in terms of real opportunity towards a professional trajectory that pays the effing bills.
Yeah. I love this program because for multiple reasons, part of what you just said. But as I've gotten to get to know Jeff more on the other side, in the full parameters, one of the things Jeff also mentions is that, how in schools you can follow academically all your achievements, like a resume on digital line. There's so much that is coming that you guys are doing to bring forward.
Digital wallets are incredible. Yeah.
I mean,
digital wallets are insane.
It's phenomenal, because now you like in medicine, you have your full medical history. Now you've got your full resume / educational history, because you're adding those accomplishments into the wallet that now follows you throughout your history. And especially in today's world, we talk about teens a lot on my side of the aisle, just like you do, but you really kind of it's kind of a baton, from young teen to older teen into the workforce kind of baton, right? That relay that we're kind of working together on. And with that, you're actually able to help teenagers, as Emma and I have talked to you about, and we've talked separately about, kids, teenagers, people going into the workforce today are fighting like they always have against the other McDonald's 16-year-old that wants a job and wants to learn how to work. And I'm just using that as an example. There's a lot of them. Emmeline is working at Walmart, I think. I think it's Walmart, one of those big box stores now. But she's competing with guys like me that can't make ends meet as we retire. You know, there's a lot of that out there, right? There's a lot of so now it's not only your first job may be better than a McDonald's job, nothing against McDonald's, but you're working at a higher level, at a more needed place. Let's face it, McDonald's employees aren't going to be as critically important as the people that are doing the things and the projects in your digital world, because that's the way the AI is driving the world. So you're putting them in a place that they can compete better going into the workforce. So you want to wrap that little segment up for me?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so those digital wallets, and the thing to understand is that they're blockchained. So you have
talk to me about blockchain. What does that mean? I know what blockchain is, sort of.
Yeah, in other words, it is secure, and because there's a distributed ledger, you're sort of pre-approved and pre-validated, so you're very, very easy to hire. And so that's where the digital wallet, where you stack their credentials, you stack all those things that Jeff was talking about, you then have that thing that is, again, instantly uploadable through the, what is it called? Something CLEs, or there's all these acronyms I can't keep track of. But you have this like learning record that goes with you that then just sort of keeps you easy to, it makes it easy for you to show your value right away. And so the lab is not paid. They're not internships, but it's a chance to attack with other people a legitimate, small bore, non-urgent business problem.
You know, so, oh, wow. We have 700 people on, Simon.
Very nice.
Hello, everybody. Hey, by the way, so please subscribe. We've got, this week, we've got 120 extra people on as subscribers. Some more Substack subscribes. You might have to talk more than me today. Yeah, it's just the day.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've added. So thank you all for that. We're at well over 700 people now, and if a portion of you or all of you, I don't know who has subscribed already, who's on here, but please subscribe. And Simon, what's your Substack? We were just talking about that.
Sure, I'm on your address. Sure, I'm on Substack as The Equanomist, and Equanomist is EQUANOMIST. And if you start from the beginning of the series, you'll see why I took this word equanomist and made it up.
You have very curious words within your entire span of life. I've known you long enough to know that I've learned at least a dozen different words, and they all make sense. They're kind of like Barbieisms, where you first hear them and it's not exactly the point, but it is exactly the point. And it gets you to stick with it and think about it. I do want you to put that into the private note. You're not on StreamYard, are you?
No.
Or are you? Okay.
No.
Only StreamYard apparently can add directly to the comments, the guest. But if you put, you know how it is. If you put all your whatever contact information you want.
So I just there's thing number one, email.
Yeah, gotcha.
Thing number two, Substack.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to read Bob's comment here.
Okay.
Loving this live show. Great energy already. Or tonight. Tonight. Yeah, okay. It's afternoon. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. You got them both on there?
Yeah. And then I have an X handle, but I can't remember what it is. I can go look at it.
Okay. Look at it. I'm not going to put them up yet till towards the end of the show, because I want people to have your easier access and not looking for them. By the way, everybody, we are now currently streaming to Facebook, to LinkedIn, to YouTube, to X, and to Instagram. And so please support all those. I mean, because as we sit here with 826 people on, we may break 1,000 here today, Simon.
See, yeah.
That would be one of the in the top 10s. That's a good one. And guys, we're at almost 500 shows now, 460 shows in the last year. I've done more. It almost seems like I'm doing more than one a day. It feels like sometimes, but yeah. So this is kind of a lazy show, isn't it? I'm just kind of chit chatting, and it's
So,
like
so
we're
you
just
asked
talking.
you asked me about the lab. I totally spun out and went straight to the Lake Wobegon story because I was still stuck in that.
You
You know,
you did,
if your
which I
audience wants to
love.
know more, well, if your
No,
audience
no,
wants to
no,
know
no.
more,
Tell us.
okay.
Tell
So
us. Tell us.
the thing, yeah. So the thing to understand about the lab is it began with a very specific idea from one school teacher who had kids getting into the workforce to other parents in my town. What I've come to realize is it's to your points, like America's going to unfudge itself at the point that neighbors recognize each other as neighbors first, and
Thank you.
as aligned by some other abstract concept, something behind that one.
Yeah. It's
So
like before you finish your story, but you brought up a great point because I like reinforcing that point. So you live in a neighborhood of some sort. I know you've got property, so your neighborhood's a little more spread out. But let's say right down the neighborhood, right? My neighbor, 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 you know, that kind of thing.
mm-hmm.
I don't care if you're whatever your melatonin is, whether you're black, brown,
Tall,
whatever, whether you're
short,
tall, short,
narrow, wide,
redhead,
all good.
you know, all those things.
2 legs,
Different
no
religions.
legs,
Yeah. Well, no legs would get probably a little bit more sympathy, probably be a little bit more help with,
of course.
but but different religions, you know, all that different stuff. The problem that we have today is our governments, all of them, are succeeding in keeping us in boxes. They divide us with men versus women, color, you know, and religion and this and that. We need to keep fighting that and come together because, to my point, I don't care what color you are, religion you are. If you're in my neighborhood, realistically, at the dinner table that night, we're all talking about the same sort of things.
Sure.
We all have the same issues. You know, the things we talked about, we're exhausted, we're emotionally distracted, we're are religiously distracted. You know, there's just so much that is put upon our backs to have this kind of technology that moves it forward. So anyway, just back to that on the neighborhood. Go ahead with the L-EAF Lab because it's a dynamic way that the world is going to be changing, thusly catching up with AI. And you know what else I wanted to add to this?
Yeah,
so especially in the beginning here, folks, think about this. When you want to go out and get a job, especially if you're more looking towards the career type ish versus the McDonald's job or something, or you know, you're loading packages in a truck kind of thing. You want to be noticed above and beyond the other 100 applicants that are there looking at that job or wanting to be looked at for that job. So how do you stand out? Oh, I've got my digital.
Yeah.
Look at who the fuck I am.
Yes.
Right?
Digital wallet, digital portfolio.
Go ahead.
I have solved these problems for these companies in my time in the lab. If you have problems like these, you can see that I solved those with a team, you know, distributed team.
So what does that do? That's two things. You've got the ability to analyze and problem solving. Oh yeah, and by the way, I also know how to work with teams. That's kind of important in a company, isn't it?
And proactively,
being sarcastic.
Well, and proactively self-organize, which again, in a command and control, like old school, you know, Ford factory, it was command and control. This is different. You know, building cars bolt by bolt by bolt. That's valuable work. That's what my granddad did. I got notes for that. It got us to where we are. So thank you for all the bolt twisters who got us here. And we're in a different world now. AI is a general purpose technology. The tsunami is coming. You know, heaven help us that we can get our hands out of our butts enough to start swimming and help other people build rafts and ride the thing, you know, in the direction that it could go.
Thrive, not just survive, right?
Yeah.
Start
to understand, you know, what does it actually take to exist in the digital economy? You need a digital wallet. You need to show you've solved problems. You need to have worked with people who are not like you, who may not come from where you come from or have the same beliefs about who should be in a particular building. You know, that's painted white, and unless you were there in like 1815 when the British got some tar on it and some soot.
So, oh man, we're 8 people away. Come on, 8 more people. We're going to cross the 1,000-person threshold.
Cool.
8 more people. Do you got any friends around your country bumpkins out there? You can.
Yeah, there's like 11 people. There's 11 people within a mile of here. So, and our internet is shit, so they're not going to be good. Like, they can't even like anything.
Oh, a couple. Well, somebody got the hint. We're down to 6 more people needed.
All right, whatever.
But,
Let's.
Hey, I like messing around with this.
It's fun.
Oh,
it's fun.
Wait. $9.99. If we wait one more second,
there
it is.
All right.
1,011 people. All right, so I won't be harassing that so much. I just want to make sure we hit 1,100 people today. Yeah. So, at the end of the day, the interesting thing that we're talking about here is that we are right now talking on a subject that is, look at the Jetsons are here. All right. I've got a thing that says the Jetsons are coming. We all, us age people know what that is, the commercial, the cartoon, right? But they're here. The Jetsons are here. As a matter of fact, my son Brennan and I were talking on a show got this 3-4 weeks ago now or something. But he was saying, look, hey, he didn't call me dad, but hey, Pops, or what, hey, Rodd, look, you got to remember this. Google is AI. I mean, Google is AI. It's very early AI, but I mean, it's been around for a long time. There's many other examples of what's here, but the Jetsons are here. Go ahead.
They are. And so here's how the Jetsons got built. And this relates to the first question in the queue. Antoine said, what changes do students notice first in Agile learning environments? And the answer is, in the Jetson school, the kids come to work, the rocket ship's in the middle of the room, they keep on building. The teachers saying that
I totally lost you. Where are you right now?
Think about it. The Jetsons, right?
Yep.
Your Antoine says, what changes do students notice first in Agile learning environments? And what I'm going to say is, okay.
Aren't you?
I can't tell.
This is a really sloppy show. So what? Oh yeah, you're like halfway down.
Okay.
Sorry, I've got so many things on my mind. I'm just kind of a little scattered today.
Sure. So can I just rapid fire answer some of the questions just so the audience can feel like they're getting some answers?
Yeah, no. That's where we're going.
Okay.
Do you want to go back to Antoine here?
Sure.
Or do you want to go back?
No, that's good. Right there. So what happens is, so if you just go to LEAF, and I'll put this right into the chat, L-EAF.org. So for almost everyone on the call, leaf.org is where, and if you start to read the blog there, you'll get very specific answers of teachers telling stories of students getting excited about the work. So much so that the students didn't need the teacher to tell them what to do anymore. They were just going out and learning stuff. So the changes that students notice is that they're trusted to go learn things, and they're trusted that they're innately curious. That's the first thing. It's a different kind of trust to innovate. Great question. Next question.
It is a great question. Let me go back a little bit.
Sure.
We already did this one.
Sure, dude. I'm your guest. You tell me where we're going.
But I wanted to go with Russ here, and okay, great. Thank you, Russ. It is a powerful and it's an important episode. But how do we get more communities involved in this movement? So we've talked about this before a little bit, but I mean, how do you? So there's already a pilot program, and that we never really got to in the opening. We kind of went off to a bit. And you're probably getting a little bit crushed on time. So you're right. We got to snap through a couple of these pretty good. But how do you recommend people get involved in? Sure. Well, there's the Regeneration School Project, but let's talk more focus right now on the LEAF. The L-EAF Lab project. How would people get involved in that? You just said, obviously, you're giving some contact information. Go on from there. Go on from there.
So right there in the live chat are the two websites, leaf.org and leaflab.org, and my email. So those things are, everyone can get all of that, pardon me. So basically, if you want to get your community involved, talk to Rodd. That's thing number one. If you're talking about a place that is farther away, Rodd will let me know, or you can reach out to me on Twitter or wherever, and we'll just start talking to whoever will talk to you in your school district. So if you have one friend in the school district, that's how you get more involved. Take that one person who works in one school and be like, hey, there's this crazy effing former social studies teacher. He and his team are just like lighting it up on these places because our kids can't wait anymore to get relevant ways of learning when we know that they're out there, and we know that parents are hungry for that.
I'm sorry, that was bad timing. Next one, Paula here says, love the insight tonight. Thank you for breaking this down so clearly. Okay. Amazing work. How can parents start applying this at home? Is this going back to the same subject here?
So there's the Agile Parenting Manifesto. So I forget the guy's name. He's very cool. So for any parents who are sort of techish savvy, the Agile Parenting Manifesto is a basically parenting version of the original Agile Manifesto written out of the Snowbird Conference in 2001.
And what is that doing? So and by the way, I haven't put these in yet. I'm going to put them, folks, I'm going to put them down towards the bottom. There's about a half a dozen different contact points, depending on what we're talking about. And Simon's isolating those for us. But I want to make sure that we get to those. But let's talk about what the manifesto is. I mean, I know what a manifesto is, but how does that work? What does that look like?
Sure. So the guy who wrote this was in software and tech. And for people of a certain age, you have a fair amount of grayness. We remember when you'd go to the library and the only things you touched were paper. You'd go to the card catalog, flip, 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 flip. We don't do that anymore. So, what we need to do for parents is be like, okay, how do we update at home? The Agile Manifesto is how you do that. Originally, the Agile Manifesto was written by software people, about, 24 or something, who came together at the Snowbird ski area and said, we've got to figure out a better way to write software code. And the Agile Manifesto came out of that. For software people, again, of our age with kids, this is like if you took parenting, kind of like what's like smart parenting these days, what are the known best practices, and put them together with the Agile Manifesto about how do you make better software. You make better families by following these practices, and they're well detailed. I've got a PowerPoint called the Less Stressed, More Adaptable Family, how to build anti-fragility from the family out. I can give that to you, Rodd, that you can give to anyone in your listenership.
Loved it. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's something we can bring up, and some of the things you're talking about now are some things that we can bring up in weekly discussions or shout outs or, what we were chatting about earlier. That's beautiful, beautiful stuff there. I wanted to go on to Kathy here. How can families start using the ideas at home right away? So, I mean, is that still within the manifesto then?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So literally just Google it or use AI, use your search thing. The guy's name is Jeff something or other. Again, I can go fish around, but it's just the Agile Parenting Manifesto. Cool, simple rules. And I'm always happy. I reply to every email personally. So if you hit me with an email, you will hear back from me. I'm a parent of two young humans, one who's about to turn 21 and one who's 15.
I met the 15-year-old. We were chatting, remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, she is going to do a thing with Emma, right?
She's waiting for the call back. I love this next question. Thank you.
Okay, hold on. Before you go there. Yeah. So this Saturday isn't, but next Saturday, talk to your daughter. Let's see.
Sure. Yeah.
If that'll work.
Yep.
So here.
We need them to be talking to each other on their phones. That'll be the easiest way to do this.
Okay. Well, I just need to know if she wants to be on.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I set it all up.
Good. I'll write that down.
All right. So Jack here, what is the biggest barrier schools face when trying to adapt this model?
Yep.
And you and I have talked about this.
Yep.
And Jennifer, is it Jennifer, right? The lady in Florida that has that big
Jessica.
online Jessica. I should know that. That's
The
my daughter.
Agile mind. Watch out for the Agile mind, folks. If
I want to
you're
get her.
if you have young people, the Agile mind is where they want to be going to school.
And that's the name of that particular online
it's the
school?
Agile Mind Academy opens in the first quarter of 2026, second quarter of 2026.
Wow.
And it's white hot. It's incredible.
Wow. She's already got a couple thousand students, right?
It's nuts.
Go to that school.
She's so definitely have her.
She was on like 3 months ago, folks. So if you go back and look at the thumbnail for this redheaded pretty lady with the Agile mind, that episode was about L-EAF Lab and many components of it, but it introduced that school. So go back and check it out, folks, and maybe we'll do a follow-up after a bit. But so here we go with Jack. What is the barriers that schools need to adopt?
So the biggest barriers that schools face kind of fall into a couple of different buckets. As someone who was a school teacher, I hated it when administrators came and told me what to do. So I'm super aware that, any school trying to change anything can be really hard. So the biggest barrier really is people don't live in a high trust enough environment to run safe experiments. The administration is scared of the parents and the school board. The teachers are scared of the kids. The kids are scared of the teachers. It's just, fear has gotten to the middle of it. And that's the barrier. If we can't transcend those sort of fear-based responses, we're going to be toast. So the good thing about fear is, it evaporates with trust and clear communication. L-EAF and the lab give boards of directors, school boards, school administrators, the whole stack, all the way down to junior high classrooms, clear business proven methods, right? In other words, we took from industry, brought it to education. So the biggest barrier is fear and narrow minds, but I'm one of those people too. So it's a system wide thing. It's not any one of us individual. It's just, we have to update our agreements about what sort of schools we need and what's relevant for the tax dollars to get directed at.
Yeah. And that's kind of always the battle, isn't it? I mean, and what's interesting now, and what I'm interested about now, we're going to get on to another question here really, really quickly that Clive had. That's really cool. Look right below where we are now. But what's going on now? First of all, I think almost everybody in America, I can't imagine anybody who doesn't 100%, maybe not 100%, but at least partially agree with the fact that the school systems are broken. The traditional school systems by far are broken. I think it was Jessica, or maybe it was another teacher we had on more recently, but somebody was talking about, they went into a social studies class in school, and there were these piles and piles and piles of brand new books never opened. And the reason was they had bought those books, but things had changed, and so they never used them. And that's not uncommon. So it's broken, and then it's broken on top of being broken. And then you add to that, it's not in any way set up to be able to handle this new world, this AI world, where you're more dialed in and tuned into that, right?
That's right. 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
So Clive, how do you respond? And this is interesting. How do teens respond? I know you're going to love to answer this question because it's exactly why the systems are in place for what he's asking you. Sorry about that. Clive says, how do teens respond when they're actually given agency to learn? How do they respond to that? I love
They respond just like anyone in a professional workforce when they're shown trust and respect by their boss.
They run with it, right? They get confidence, they get energy, they get enthusiasm, and they get more creative because now, okay, my boss is or my teacher is saying, okay, you got agency, you got it going on, you got this, you got that. Now I don't have to worry about coming out of myself. That's the,
Bingo.
teens have that issue, right? There's that
Bingo.
whole thing of, I don't have security. I'm just a teen. Hey, you remember when you were a teen, you weren't like walking around like, I know every God. If you were probably a dumbass, but
I also had no
sorry.
girlfriends ever in high school. So I'm not a good, right? Like I'm not a good,
Well, believe me, I don't think there's many people, even if you had a girlfriend or two, you may be walking cocky about one thing, but when you have adults around you that are giving you where I'm going to stay with the word agency, that are giving you agency, it opens up a whole new thing for you, doesn't it?
Sure does. And we've all feel like you feel that when you feel seen in a classroom, when you feel seen in the workforce, when the people who allege that they're there to help you actually do and slow down and help you, you just grow. People, we're fine, right? We're the seeds, all the DNA, we're good. Our systems are really just not catching up very fast.
No, and they're not able to, not only are they not catching up, but they're not able to prepare for. So in other words, they're not catching up, but then they're not ahead of it.
No,
I mean,
they're in ostrich mode.
schools should be ahead, right? Or they should be ahead of what is needed. That's what it's called school for.
It is.
That's why I'm changing my term of school to be more of a description of a test taking factory. That's kind of what they kind of are. I mean, I don't mean to be disrespectful but you're in the, you've lived both sides. I mean, you're like
I've given hundreds, I've given
generation.
Thousands of tests. Yeah, I've given thousands of tests in my life. I've graded thousands.
That's what's, yeah. And what do schools do? They prepare you to take tests. Now, what's the difference, right, between that and what we're talking about moving forward? But with that thought, sorry, ma'am. It sounds Hawaiian. I'm kind of jealous now. It snowed here yesterday, Simon. Of course, I bet you it snowed where you were too, huh?
Oh yeah, we got half a foot on the ground.
Yeah, so do we. It's all melted now, but it's all gone. But because I'm in a little bit warmer climate, I finally get to say that again. So what she's asking here is something I wanted to kind of hold on to for a second and now put it out there, because we talk a lot about how getting involved, and I've got a bunch of things that I'm going to be copying and pasting over for you folks for contact information for Simon that'll give different instructions on different questions on how to enact. But this one here is interesting because, okay, what's the first step? What should somebody's for the first time going, whoa, this sounds like a really good idea. I've got a 15-year-old. I'm not real happy about the school system. I've got a 12-year-old. I've got a 19-year-old just getting ready to start looking harder and harder for, well, is he going into college, or is she going into trade school, or is they going straight to work? What is the first thing somebody's going, okay, this is something I want to get involved in? What would be the very first step? I know you said look for somebody who's in your district that's a friend. Is that the first step, or
it's trust? It's trust. Okay. It's trust. The first step is, who do you trust?
Building that trust.
Whoever, so yes. Start with any.
Who do I trust?
Like, so like if you're a parent, ask your kid, which teachers do you like? And then you see, can you have any access to that teacher, and just talk to them, right? This whole thing, all the LEAF stuff, built by teachers for teachers, built by educators for educators, built by administrators and principals for administrators and principals. So it's built by people who live all sides of the school building, from the top to the bottom, from every part of it. I'm as familiar with a plunger as I am with a protractor, as I am with, having to shake the board member's hand. We have to help young people get to the point where that's not weird. That's just cool and normal, because you've got really purpose-focused work. Full stop.
Look it in the eyes, shaking the hands, being more in that adult culture.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother learning thing.
being in your body, being with other people, all that stuff. I've run up against my time wall, I'm afraid.
Yep, I got 4 more
yeah.
I want to hit through with you real quick.
Okay,
So,
very good.
and I can go back and you and I have kind of
Sure.
know a little bit about each other's things, but I wanted to for sure get to Antonio and
Yeah, I had that one.
I'm not
Yeah,
even going to.
Antoine.
No, this is a new one, isn't
And
it?
nope, I
I
spoke to that
thought
one. That was the first one.
Wow, that was way down there then. Okay, and then how can rural communities benefit from this
Oh,
model?
thank you,
And there's a
Rochelle.
lot
Yeah.
of ways.
Oh my
Lot
God.
of
Okay, so
ways,
this is,
Rochelle.
my heart goes out to rural America. I was born in a town of 800 people. 800 people. That's a small effing town. So we benefit.
I would have never realized that before, but now I realize how small effing that is. Go ahead.
So rural communities benefit from this model by showing adults and people in that town, oh, my high school aged or college aged kid could get a job in the digital economy and remain in this rural community, not having to choose between a good job and a good place to live. That's what it can do. That's the direct benefit. It's good, good paying distributed team jobs that people get more easily when they come through the lab because they've got all this stuff that they can show. So then the company's not worried about, can you do stuff? You've already got that. And you happen to live in rural America. So you vote in rural America, you pay taxes there, you go to you're in that community because that's how the roots of commerce
That's your community.
Start. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Well, isn't it beautiful to finally get to a point in time? We've got one more question left, so let me make this quick. When we get to a point in time where if you were born into and outside of going to college or a NCAA sport where you may have to leave, now you don't have to make that choice to survive or stay. Now you can do both. You can do either. If you want to leave, you can, but you aren't leaving because there's no opportunity. Now that opportunity comes.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not in the coal mining town where you have to leave when the coal seam runs out. It's not that.
Yeah. It's totally different. It's that next level. So how can families get mentorship or coaching through these programs? Great question. This is the last question for you, Simon.
By emailing me is the short answer.
Oh, well, now I've got to catch up and do the work that I'm supposed to be doing here. You're pressing it on me. So talk a little bit so we don't have dead air for you to end your stay here.
Yeah. So families can just get in touch. That's it. Get in touch. We'll send you the stuff that we have. We'll point you to people, just moms and dads, small business people who are just trying to figure out how do we get through these crazy chaotic times. And we do it a lot by just building better teams at every level. And we do that through trust and the learning practices that the lab, helps people learn.
I'm going to go back and redo this because it didn't, I did it really quick. So here is your information, but what it did is it pulled in, it pulls in the little timestamp because I just copied it all. But what I'll do is I'll go back while I'm doing my closing here.
Okay.
But I'll go back and isolate each one of those and then put it in one that doesn't have all the timestamps just to make it a little easier. You'll get 2 for 1 out of that.
Thank you.
Why
sir.
don't you? I know you're on a hard stop here at the top of the hour, and we're almost at an hour long anyway.
Cool.
Before I close out, why don't you go ahead and leave? Give it a couple minutes here, not a 3-word thing. Give it a couple minutes, and what do you want to leave with over 1,000 people? Still 1,042 people. They're just hanging right there.
Sure.
Why don't you? What do you want to leave them with?
Yeah. Well, so what I would leave them with is kind of just the ground floor understanding that this is not a broken country. We're not broken people. As long as we can continue to just trust ourselves, use the resources around us, we will rebuild at the speed of trust. It's as simple as that. And it's really abundant in rural America. How do we know? Because we freaking live here. Because we get the snow, because we know the dude who plows the driveway, or we know the guy who grows the whatever. You know, rural America has always been constrained, resource constrained, and the way to do it is not alone. So to your audience, I would just say, you know, yes, I have this job. It has to involve these companies, but just as a dad, as an American, as a small business owner, we're good in proportion to our ability to continue to reach out, talk to people, question our assumptions, smile just for no good reason. Consider that you might not be perfect or right about everything, and that someone who's got a different colored tie than you might not be wrong about everything. And you can walk that middle path of, you know, curiosity and skepticism, you know, drive and an ability to relax.
Nice.
That would be it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, man. And because you did that, I'm going to actually go and read some of the excerpts to close out the show on my column, because it
Yeah.
speaks in that same way. Wait,
Sweet.
give everybody a big wave. I'll send you on your way, and you and I'll chat later.
Very good. Thanks,
All right,
folks.
brother. Oh, sorry. Do that again. I cut you off.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Take it easy, friend. Bye. So there we go. So I'm gonna do a closeout, but I'm gonna go ahead and read from. This is my very first column ever written. Well, I shouldn't say that. Ever published. I'm now officially, I guess, a columnist, which I'm very excited about. It. I think that's kind of part of the reason today got a little giddy, got a little goofy, because I'm very excited about a number of things that are going on. You see here, I don't know if it shows up, but to the right side, right above the download, the orange button, that's the opening. That's the front page article, which gives a lot of background about me and the show, talks a lot about insights and straight talk and our mission and the Regeneration School Project that we're doing here in Mangum. But for my first ever column, I wanted to, and I'm going to read from this. It's about a 2-minute read, so bear with me here. So I started off here. This is my first ever column, as I said, and it's specific. This column is specific to Greer County, but really specific to Mangum, the town I now call home. There's something happening in Mangum, something quiet, something steady, something real. You won't see it in headlines. You won't hear it on political speeches, and you won't find it in the chaos of national news. But if you pay attention, if you drive down Main Street, if you watch the way people interact at the post office or the grocery store, you'll feel it. The sense that this town has something a lot of America has lost. This is not our community. That's the lost. The kind that doesn't need permission or polling, the kind that shows up when times get heavy, the kind that keeps families standing even when the world feels like it's falling apart. That's why I'm writing this column. Not to lecture, not to preach, but to reconnect us with the backbone that already exists here. Each week in Insights and Straight Talk, I talk with families, workers, teachers, you guys know this, teens, and folks just trying to make sense of a world that refuses to slow down. And the same questions keep showing up. How do regular people keep going when life keeps tightening the screws? It's not a political question, it's a human one. I've sat down with teens who feel lost in a world moving too fast for their minds to catch up to. I've talked to parents who feel stretched so thin they're afraid that they'll tear. I've seen teachers carry burdens that never make it to their job description. And I've lived enough of my own collapse to know that pressure doesn't discriminate. But here's the thing about Mangum. This town has a heartbeat, a pulse, a willingness to rise. When I rebuilt my own life after losing everything I worked for, I learned one truth that changed everything. Hope isn't something that lands on you. It's something you build. Producer Barbie always says, people heal when someone finally listens to them. And in a town like this, the listening is built in. But I want to elevate it. I want this little corner of insights, that's the name of my column, to help bring back a habit our grandparents mastered. The habit of showing up for each other. So let me start by giving you something real, something you can use today. 3 pieces of solid advice for hard seasons. 1, talk to someone before pressure wins. That's important. Silence breaks more people than problems do. 2, don't confuse being tired with being weak. Most of the strongest people I know wake up exhausted, but they wake up. Stop trying to do life alone. Independence is good. Isolation is deadly. And here's the best part. Mangum is built for connection. It's built for eye contact. It's built to say hi. It's built to wave at people. It's built for community. This column isn't about politics, sides, labels, or fights. It's about people, your neighbors, your family, your story. And I'll say this bluntly, Mangum matters. Not because it's big, far from it, but because it's strong. If you're reading this today, I want you to remember your voice matters, your fight matters, your hope matters. And in this town, you're not carrying anything alone. And then it goes into Insights and Straight Talk, Voices at the Table, the Regeneration School Project, YouTube at 1939. At Rodd Duff 1939. Substack, insightstraighttalk.substack.com. So that's kind of, it happened to come out on this day when we're talking about the L-EAF Lab or the L-EAF Lab. And folks, I just appreciate y'all being here. I appreciate you supporting our efforts. Please thank the Mangum City Library for being a sponsor, and thank you for being supportive of the show. Please, as I just read, the YouTube and the Insights and StraightTech.substack.com. Please subscribe to both of those entities. And, this is Insights and Straight Talk. My name's Rodd Duff. We're a little over an hour, and I'm out.
Before you leave, if you'd like to watch another one of the podcasts, click the first link in the description. We love having you here, and we appreciate all your support.
And with that, producer Barbie and I are out. The Mangum Star.